And recording now.
How you doing, man?
Hey, good. A little hungover out here in Nashville. We did it up last night, but I'm
Who's
good.
way?
Me, Chris Porter,
Oh
Theo was hanging
wow.
out. Porter's doing the early shows.
Oh nice.
He brought a bottle of tequila. It was a whole thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I guess I'm sorry to bring you back into this, but
Oh no, I'm back in. I'm doing a SoCo and tea.
ew.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, I had to go down. I went down to the bar in the hotel and grabbed it for the
Oh
show.
shit. I'm doing a McKellen 15 here. I'm going nice.
Ooh, that's a nice scotch.
That's a nice scotch in honor. I mean, we say why we're drinking on this show, so this is in honor. I miss the Comedy Cellar. I think of it every day. It's in honor of Alan Havey, who always drinks McKellen at the Cellar.
Yeah.
And if you don't know Alan Havey, as the stand-up, you might know him as Lou Avery on Mad Men, which is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yes.
He fires Don Draper. I mean, what a fucking hilarious role.
Great actor, underrated actor, good comic too.
So
like
funny.
He's got some Lettermans that are killer.
Dude, I always think of that joke of his where he goes, I got a good wife, not a perfect wife. Perfect wife, spy for the CIA.
Yes.
Honey, how was your day? I can't talk about it. Perfect.
Great joke. I don't know if you can do that joke now.
I don't know. Maybe you can, I mean, he's an older guy, so he gets away with it. I think if
Yeah.
you're an older dude, you can kind of. It's like the young guy doing. If it was like an 18-year-old comic, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this guy's problem?"
Right. No, he's a killer. And just like an old school dude, like again, I don't know if I should say this, but like all the waitresses loved him because he had that DILF kind of dad thing going.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a cool guy from Miami, regular dude, just likes
But
to
also,
drink.
he also has Missouri ties, I believe, because I know he's a diehard Cardinals fan. So,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, so do you have a story behind the SoCo and tea, or just fucking Nashville and it up?
Well, it's the South, and we're big tea people in the South. And I said, what goes with a tea? And they had like an iced tea flavored liquor, and I was like, I don't want that flavored shit. Just give me a tea with some SoCo in it. So
You don't do the
not
flavors?
bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't mind if it's like infused. I'll do I love like a jalapeno infused tequila or something. I'll do that, but
that works. But this honey, like that Jack Daniel's honey, I'm like, ugh.
Oh.
It's like syrupy, sweetie. Ugh.
I met one of my favorite basketball players ever in Milwaukee years ago, Latrell Sprewell. I mean, you might know me choked his coach in Golden State and he got thrown off the team. It was like an incredible story. But I was, I'm there in a Knicks sweatshirt, and the host of the show is like, Latrell Sprewell drinks across the street every night. And I was like, no, he doesn't. She goes, every night. He's like Kenny Powers in Milwaukee now.
Wow.
So we go to the bar, he shows up, and I was like, what does he drink? And she goes, he drinks Honey Jack.
Oh no.
So he walks in. It was like the most painful interaction I ever had, where I just said, he finally comes in. I'm like, oh, Latrell, I'm the biggest fan. I'm wearing a fucking Knicks sweatshirt in Milwaukee. Like, clearly I'm a fan. And he goes, okay.
Oh.
And I said, can I get you a drink? He holds up his Honey Jack. He goes, I already got one. And I said, I'm a comedian. I'm playing across the street later tonight or tomorrow night. And he goes, yeah, okay. And I was like, well, if you want an extra ticket, he goes, yeah, don't count on it. That was my interaction with him.
Wow.
Brutal. And then 2 nights later, whatever, I saw other people go up to him and it went way worse. I got off easy.
Yeah.
2 nights later, the last night there, the bartender from that bar that he goes to every night was like, I heard you had a rough interaction with Sprewell. He's a good guy. He's a surly drunk sometimes. So she's texting him and she goes, I'm at the guy's show, the comedian who you met the other night. And he just writes back, yeah, great guy.
Hey, all right.
But like all he did was fucking insult me. Like it was.
But you left him alone, and I think that's what counts.
Alone. Yeah.
He took note of that.
Years later, he came on my MSG show, and I did not bring it up.
Yeah. What do you think? Is he just a sad guy? Like, did his daughter die? Like, what do you think got him so?
Well, I mean, all right. Here's one thing. He's underappreciated. He was a great player, but he turned down a 3-year, $21 million deal at the end of his career, and he never got another deal again. And it was like a famous viral clip where he said, I got kids to feed. So every news station picked it up. He goes, yeah. The thing was like, what are you feeding them? Hummers? Like, what are you feeding them? So I think he caught a lot of shit for that. But I mean, I loved him. I thought he was the man. He was just like, he fucking choked his coach and then came to the Knicks and like was awesome for us. I mean, when does that ever happen? When does that ever work out?
Right. Fun story on that same wavelength. And I'm not going to say who it is because I don't know if they want this out there. But I was opening for a huge comic, and we were at a restaurant before the show, and John Turturro was eating alone at this restaurant. It was like a steakhouse. He's eating alone at like 5 p.m. And the headliner was like, I'm going to go tell John Turturro about our show. And I was like, all right, good luck. He walked over. He goes, I'm a huge fan, Mr. Turturro. Love all your work. And he goes, uh-huh. And he goes, just saying, I'm doing the arena tonight. If you want to come by, it's on me. And he goes, no, thank you. And that was it.
Wow.
He wasn't mean. He was just like, no, thank you. But it was super, that walk back was so defeating. It was like when you hit a gutter ball in bowling and you have to turn around and go back to your friends, you know?
No,
that's what it looked like.
You'd almost rather they're just an asshole outright, because no thank you was just such a polite rejection. You'd almost rather they're a dick. That's such a reasonable rejection.
I know. It was ugly. And yeah, he was polite, so you couldn't hate him. You're right. You just had to go, all right, I guess he didn't want to come.
I remember seeing he did a movie called, I think it was called like American Gigolo or something. I saw it with List, and it was one of those movies where like every 10 minutes we had to turn to each other and be like, is this the worst movie you've ever seen? it was like Woody Allen was his like friend in the movie, and it was like, you could tell Woody Allen did it as a favor. Like, you've done a lot of my shit, you know?
Right.
I mean, I love John Turturro, but like, then you see some of these guys, like when they're like, all right, I'm writing my own thing. And you're like, didn't work out. That's
right.
But yeah, he is a fucking legend. I mean, I love his acting. I mean,
great actor,
dude. Fuck, what's that movie he did? The Redford movie. You know what I'm talking?
Quiz Show. Amazing.
One of my favorite movies ever. Incredible.
So good in that. He's great, and obviously Big Lebowski. Yeah. I think Uncut Gems is kind of like channeling some Turturro.
Whoa, yeah, good call. Yeah.
The hair, the face, everything.
You know why, though? What you're really saying is a trashy Jew is basically an Italian. That's what you're saying. Well,
I'm not going to argue with that.
But Uncut Gems was fucking cool. That was a good
movie. Loved it. I mean, a lot of people hated it. I thought it was, they're like, it's too tense. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Yeah. That's movie making. That's what they were trying to go for.
It's a panic attack. It really is. It drove me insane. I was like going crazy, but I'm like, I mean, that's what being a degenerate gambler is supposed to feel like. I think that's what they're going for, right?
Yeah, and they nailed it, and the ending was a twist. And he was like a weird guy, but you rooted for him. He was like ugly and a kind of a shark, but you loved him.
Yeah, because you're just in it so deep. You're just like, fuck. It's like being around a degenerate gambler where you're furious at them, but then you're like, I want you to win.
Right. Yeah. We saw Django in the theater.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that was fun.
In Union Square. That feels like such a, I guess with COVID, seeing a movie in the theater feels so old fashioned now.
Yeah, dude. You know, I just rewatched Kill Bill the other night. It's so good. It's
great.
It's just such a good movie where you're like, it's funny with Tarantino. You're just like, oh, I'm in someone great's hands every step of the way.
Yes, that's
every
what you
shot,
want.
every music choice, every shot, every line. You're like, fuck. I hate when people critique Tarantino for like the new one he did with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, where they're like, it's too long, and I'm like, what else were you gonna do with that time?
Right. And it's so great. I didn't want it to end.
I loved it.
I loved Brad Pitt's character. I loved DiCaprio was so funny when he's drinking too much and he's like in the trailer throwing the shit against the wall going, you got to get it together. We've all been there so many times.
All been there.
I love the flamethrower, all that shit. The dog and the smashing the woman's face on the mantle. I mean, come on, it's gold.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's Tarantino's so good where he's like, this is like just straight up violence against women, and he's getting you in the theater cheering for it because they're such fucking hateable characters.
Right.
I mean, they're murderers, so you're kind of like, yeah, this is okay to cheer for.
Totally.
But, what are you watching? Like we do a recommendation on this. This episode. By the way, before we get into the recommendation, can I try something? Tell me if this works.
Please.
I want to see if, because we have a theme song from the great Colin Smith.
Oh.
I'd love to see if this works on the pod.
Bring it on, baby. Yes.
That's a hot theme for this
Great
pod.
theme. We got to play that in the beginning for every show, I think.
Yeah, maybe we get some animation or some pictures of us or something fun.
Yeah.
We get someone to do. Yeah, we could. If you're watching this and you think of
Yes.
something, hit us up because we're not good at that. But
No.
yeah. What do you any good watches or reads or anything you've been doing that's good lately?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw you for a loop here and change it up. I'm gonna recommend a podcast.
Okay.
I don't know if you're into it, but I liked all his books, and I got into the revisionist history. Malcolm Gladwell,
Oh shit! You know
great pod.
you're not
Really,
the
he
first.
takes these weird stories and weird facts and just delves deep into them, and they're fucking fascinating.
I'm gonna listen to it. You're
It's
not the
great.
first. You're not the first to turn me on. And you know, what? Honestly, I've never read any of his books. Embarrassingly,
What?
yeah, I never jumped in. But I know he's so well respected. I gotta get in on it.
I mean, he's just a big nerd, and he just goes deep into like, like a 30-30, except it'll 30 for 30, but it'll be about like a Korean pilot that was a horrible pilot, but he killed a bunch of people. It's just he finds these crazy things, and he did one on Elvis. I think it's the best one. Elvis had some kind of hair trigger in his brain when he heard a certain song. He would either break out crying, hysterically laugh, and they have all this footage of him just like in the studio, and they're on their 118th take of this one song, and he can't say it without going into some episode.
Wow. So just he could not react to music.
Could not react, but it was a different reaction every time.
Wow.
It's wild. And they cover the whole thing and psychologically why he did that, than other people who have their thing. And it's really cool.
What other type of things do people have?
Well, a lot of it is like seizuring. Like some people seizure when they hear a certain thing or see a certain thing. But his was purely emotional.
That's so much better than a seizure. You're just like, that's so fucking unfair. Some people have a fucking seizure, and Elvis is just like, I really feel it.
Yeah, but I mean, he's on stage in Vegas. They have audio footage of this where he's just like singing some song, like, and I'll tell you, and you're like, whoa, he's in front of like 10,000 people just weeping.
Damn,
it's wild.
And it wasn't drug related. It was just
he just something clicked. It's like, if a kid's molested, then he sees a movie where a guy gets molested, he starts, jizzing or whatever it is. It was like that. It was just some twist, some malfunction.
Man, Elvis really gets, in some ways, no respect. Like, you ever at a burger spot and they're like, we have the Elvis burger, and it's like peanut butter and
bananas
and banana. You're like, it's just because he was fat. That's what it was.
Well, he did die on the can, which is not a great legacy.
True. But a lot of people die in the can, right? I feel like a lot of people have.
Do they?
Shit. I was just reading about someone who died in the can.
I'm assuming Ralphie May. All right, folks. Don't write in.
I was just watching season 3 of The Sopranos where one of the captains dies. That's when Tony has to make Ralph. Fictional character, but it was a toilet death.
Oh, that's right. Good call.
Man,
boy, he was so hateable.
Oh, but he's so good, though. Joe Pantoliano rules.
Amazing. I mean, Renan Hirschberg, our pal, can do he's got the most Sopranos knowledge, and he always points out that it's the most character developed show of all time. So much so their movie favorites, like their movie choices.
Oh, dude, I love what Tony watching, like what's it called, the Edward G. Robinson movie?
Yes,
the Top of the World, White Heat.
White Heat.
I love that because it's like, oh, Tony's got mom issues, and it's
right.
Like it's all fucking connected.
It's so good. Connected. It's amazing. Their preferences. What food they like. That show is. List hates it, but it's next level.
Oh, I love Joe, but he's so wrong on that one. But I mean, he's never been more wrong. I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, I remember once speaking of like White Heat and Edward G. Robinson. I miss movie theater so much. I remember going down to the Film Forum in Tribeca, and it's like White Heat and Little Caesar back to back.
Wow!
I saw both those Edward G. Robinson movies in the theater. This was like a couple years ago. I fucking miss it.
Wow!
Yeah, so great.
Is it just you and two other weirdos in there?
Yeah.
It's just you and Fred Willard and Paul Rubens.
R.I.P. Fuck, it has been a bad year. We lost
Oh,
Fred Willard and Jerry Stiller in the same week.
I forgot about that. Jesus, that's so brutal.
Fuck this year.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna hit you with an interesting rec.
Yeah, hit me with a
You might
rec.
have already seen it, but I just watched it. The Bee Gees doc.
Oh, I loved it.
It was so good.
Loved it. Phil Hanley hit me up, and I watched it like that instant.
Same.
I love shit. Like I watched the Eagles. Like I'm not even a huge Eagles guy, but I just like the idea of somebody starting from nothing and then becoming this giant arena cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, and they're kind of get like no respect, the Bee Gees. I mean, I know they were rich as hell and they defined a moment, but they kind of in like, I don't know. I feel like it's always like, it's like the Beatles, the Stones, the Doors, the fucking Clapton, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's that no one ever mentions the Bee Gees to me as one of the greatest bands ever.
I agree. And they reinvented. Well, first of all, what's his name? What's the long-haired one? Not Barry is the hot one.
Yeah. Yo,
the other one.
Barry was hot, and then the youngest one was really handsome, and then the two in the middle are, I'm like, what? Who
hideous.
Did your mom cheat with a fucking like the alien from American Dad? What the fuck happened?
Yeah, that guy is so ugly. Plus, they're British, so the teeth are fucked up. It's a bad combo. Plus, the long hair. The whole thing's horrible. But they started as this like ballad, kind of moody, emotional guy, and then they just got into disco and killed it. I mean, they were huge and then dipped and then just came back as the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's also hilarious that the you know, they're talking about how they like disco, it's like for black people and for gays was this huge movement, and then it's like, where is the major riot against disco? Boston.
Yeah, of course.
At a Red Sox game, they're like, fuck disco. It's like, that's not even the same. It's just baseball. You're not even the same thing.
I know. And they made a giant flag that said disco sucks. Like you had to worry about your team. You're worried about the fucking, it's crazy.
But that's the anger. When you don't win for a while, you just start to get mad at other shit. Like the Red Sox at that point probably hadn't won since like 19, like, oh, something. I don't know, whatever, 1919, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So they were probably just like, fuck everything. That was just like drunken anger, you know?
Right.
When your team's not winning, you just start to hate like minorities and other groups.
Yes. Yeah, I always say whenever people start turning on the Jews, you're like, oh, you're slipping into some sort of insanity. You know, like, well, the Jews did they killed you know, Columbus. You're like, whoa, dude, you're out to lunch at this point.
I'll give you Jesus, but I will not give you Columbus. That's the tough thing about being a Knicks fan. It's Manhattan. You can't turn on the Jews. You just have to be you just have to hate yourself, which, you know, ironically, kind of Jewy. So
self-loathing.
Self-loathing.
But what is that with Boston? It always goes this way. Like Cosby, America's Dad, pull your pants up, sweaters, Jello pop, rapist. You know, you can't. Everybody has to even out. And then Boston is like blue state or blue city, whatever. And then they have all these colleges. Gay marriage was legalized in Massachusetts before everywhere else, and yet homophobic, racist. Everything evens out.
You're totally right. It's like John Kerry, Whitey Bulger, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's like Harvard, Southie. They have to even out, right? It's
complete
get a
extremes.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting. Boston, some of like the greatest intellectuals, and then some of the most ugly racism ever.
Yeah, crazy. They had a like gay pride parade, and they said like just the guys on the side, like, fuck you, I'll kill you, you homo, and all this shit. It's wild. Like,
didn't they try to do a straight pride parade in Boston?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. I went to that. It was actually fun.
It looked good. It looked like a good time.
I mean, the straight parade is the Super Bowl, monster truck. We got straight parades.
And guess what? Yeah, Super Bowl, Boston. You fucking got that. That's your parade. You had you had 6 of them. You have fucking Brady for 20 years. Shut up. And
the Sox. The Sox had a good run. You know,
the Celtics, the most winningest basketball franchise ever. They've got it all.
Bruins, yeah.
Being a Boston sports fan, you've been spoiled rotten.
Right. That's true. Yeah, you're right. Harvard, Southie. That's a great call.
And they got, I mean, dude, Cheers just shut down the bar. They had a real bar, Cheers.
It's over?
Yeah. Pandemic, everything's fucking
that.
shutting down, man. I see a lot of comedy clubs suffering right now, but
Oh
shit.
yeah, yeah. We lost the Big Hunt in DC, and we lost DC Draft House. Two in
Brutal.
DC.
Both great. I had so many great nights in the Big Hunt, man. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, that was a special place. It was like so dank and underground and gritty.
I like a comedy club that smells like piss. There's
Yes.
something about it where you're like, I don't love it in the moment, but then you think back and it like triggers a memory, and you're like, that's fucking nice.
Yeah, yeah. As Seinfeld would say, the sweaty gym. That that feeling you go to like an old boxing gym and it smells like BO and spit and
Yes.
shit like that. It was definitely one of those rooms.
Yeah, that was a workout room. Like we worked out fucking hours in that room, both of
Oh
us.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't believe they shut down I didn't know the DC Draft House closed too.
I know. I like that room. It was just like a box in the middle of the city and with, blankets on the windows. And that was I had some hot sets in there.
Incredible club. Like, yeah, that was like a kill room for sure. How
Yeah.
about I saw that the Peoria jukebox is struggling too. They're doing a GoFundMe.
Hey, Jesus.
Peoria, Homer Richard Pryor
And Kinnison.
and Kinnison. Didn't know that.
How crazy that like two of the biggest are from the same town.
No shit.
And it's not like it's New York City or Chicago or something. It's fucking Peoria.
Peoria. Yeah, it's tough. It's a rough. I mean, they're. It took a lot for them to put up a Richard Pryor statue. Like you'd think, you think they'd be like Richard Pryor's from here, but instead they're like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
They
That
don't
was
give a shit.
that was what was so funny about the Bill Burr rant because he's going off on Philly. He's like, "You fucking racist! You have a statue of Rocky, and Joe Frazier is from here." I mean, that's such. I love that came out during the rant because that means he was thinking about that at some point, and he was like, "Fuck it, I'm saying it."
Yeah. Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Yeah, you have one of the greatest actual boxers, and you're
Yeah,
celebrating. I mean, look, I'm not gonna act like I don't love Rocky. Those
sure,
fucking movies rule, but let's
sure.
celebrate real people too. I'm with
Yeah,
you.
I mean, Milwaukee's got a Fonzie statue.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
You ever see the Lucille Ball statue in upstate? They had to
Yes.
it was so bad they had to redo it.
Oh,
It
that's a
was
shame.
like it looked like a fucking monster. It looked like she was like she looked like an alien. You're like, ugh, what the fuck?
Wow, that's
Genius.
great.
She was a fucking comic genius.
Unbelievable. And she married a Hispanic guy, which was like crazy for
Yeah.
that time. The whole
Yeah.
thing's Lucille Ball. I heard her autobiography is amazing. I
It's a
should read
great.
that.
It's called Laughs, Luck, and Lucy. It's by I forgot his first name, something Oppenheimer. It's an incredible book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the way he describes being like you need almost like a star whisperer. She was so famous that
Right.
he was kind of like she would drive him nuts. She was such a diva, and I remember he described at one point where he was like, "I was like, fuck this shit. I'm." It's crazy that you can have what you think is like the hottest ticket in town, which it was. It's like one of the most successful shows ever. But he
Sure.
was like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and she was like, "Please don't leave. If you leave," and she started crying, and you're like, "Oh,
Whoa.
like that's how good he was. She knew that she couldn't lose him." So
Wow.
yeah, he seemed like a good guy too. But then yeah, the shit she did to fight for, I mean, Desilu Productions, she made sure he was involved in it as well. And
Yeah.
big deal to have a Cuban on TV. I think it was Cuban, right? I mean,
Cuban.
so
Ricardo.
yeah, man. I mean, that show is so funny. It's also hilarious that Vivian Vance was like this really attractive younger woman, and that was like 50s TV. She's like, "You'll be married to this fat 70-year-old man."
Oh, is that Ethel? Is that the neighbors? Yeah.
She's like a legit, like she can sing, she can do everything. She's very pretty. And then they're like, I think she was pissed to be like paired with like an old fat dude.
Lucille Ball. I mean, you catch her in the right photos. Beautiful lady.
She's hot, dude. She was hot for sure.
Hot lady.
Absolutely.
I'm a fan, but I used to watch that show. It used to come on Saturday mornings, back when like TV was TV, and I would just leave it on. I watched all that shit. Lucy, Odd Couple,
Yeah.
Mr. Ed. It was horrible TV, but I just watched it because it was on.
I never saw Mr. Ed.
Oh, horrible show. Horrible. I mean, look, the horse's lips are moving, and that was the whole premise.
Ugh,
That's
yeah.
it.
Odd Couple, I like a little bit. I mean, I remember just reading the play. I just wanted to know what it was. I remember just reading the play and being like, "This is fucking good. It holds
Yeah.
up. Like it's just good writing." But
Neil Simon.
yeah, fucking beast. It's crazy that show is just like every show. It's just like,
I know.
it's crazy. You're like, one guy does this and the other one goes that, and you're like, oh, this is every show.
Every show, but somebody had to think of it.
Yeah.
I guess it's like God and the devil. I mean, that was probably the original Odd Couple. I mean, you got to start somewhere.
That's actually a funny show, God and the Devil.
That would be funny, like a Family Guys type show with God and the devil in like a studio.
The devil is just really messy, and the God's like, he's doing that drawing the line. He's like, oh, you keep your shit over here. It's just like,
right.
Hitler's on that side of the room.
Yeah. And devil's having orgies and shit with, all these, gay guys and women. And God's like, oh, I'm trying to read. Oh, that's not bad.
That's actually decent. We might just come up with a good animated idea or something.
Yeah, God and the devil.
Not bad. What you read any good newspaper articles? Any good
Oh yeah, well, I had to just do one this is a little older now, but I had to do one zinger I thought of for Ellen got COVID, as we all saw.
Yeah.
And she's having a tough year, by the way.
Yeah.
And my zinger was, wow, she got COVID. She's just getting over her staph infection. All right.
I like it. That's a great monologue joke.
It feels like a monologue joke. Yeah.
Yeah. It's perfect. I mean, dude, it's so funny that she's involved in like the QAnon stuff too. Like, her
Is
name,
she?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like they're like, she's one of the people, like part of the pedophile conspiracy ring. Is like her name was one of the first that comes out. So you're right. She can't catch a break.
Right.
I've heard she's not a great person, but also
Sure.
it's still hilarious to me.
I mean, I'm in the minority here, but like, I get it. Like she's busy. She's got 8 zillion things going on. So I think, she's going to be a cunt. And if you don't want to work there, I don't think you should work there. I don't know. It's a tough one.
I've heard some stories that are bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard she does not have your back if you work there.
Oh, all right. Well, I didn't know that.
I've heard some writers strike shit as well, that she was not good to them. So that's my thing, man. Like, if you have your own show, you better be good to writers. Like,
right.
They're making you look good.
Right.
Without
that's
them, you're
true.
just doing your dumb little fucking dance all the time.
Yes. By the way, another balancing out. We talk about Cosby. She's dancing, happy-go-lucky, cute lesbian, and then, ISIS behind the scenes.
Isn't it funny though too? It's like, you are kind of what the world is in the moment. Like, in the 90s, she was so brave because it's like, look, you're the first. This is like a lesbian who has a sitcom. Like you're groundbreaking. You're brave. Then like time goes on, and they're like, she's a fucking bitch. You can't be on top for long enough without people eventually turning on you anyway.
You really can't. Yeah, that's why just a nice, gooey D-level is the way to go. D-level celeb. That's what you want to be.
We're killing that game right now.
Yeah, we're about F. We're getting there.
We're a fucking nice F right now, but we're F on the rise.
Yes.
We're a hot F incline, I think.
Right. Well, what did you think of the Tom Cruise rant?
I barely looked at it, but I mean, what, he was pissed about people not wearing masks? Is that what it was?
Yeah, COVID
I'm all right
protocol.
with it. I mean, like, shit.
Yeah.
He's putting, I mean, like, here's what I'll say about Tom Cruise. He's not a pussy. Like,
yeah, no.
He's almost got a death wish. It's weird to be that like rich and famous, and you're like, I'm jumping off the building. They're like,
yeah,
we have a guy whose whole job that is, and he's like, fuck that guy. So if he's taking COVID seriously, it's not just about him. I think with him, I'm with it. I'm down with Tom Cruise doing that shit. I think it's all right.
Yeah.
It's not Christian Bale where he's just losing his mind because he's losing his mind. I
Right.
think Tom Cruise, like, you could say a lot of shit about him, but like, he's got a death wish and he's looking out for people with COVID. Just follow the protocol if you're on a job,
Totally. Also, that sounds like a MI movie, COVID protocol. But also
a really boring MI movie.
Yeah. First of all, I think that rant was so well done, like not a flub. It was almost like he nailed it in one take. And it sounded so Tom Cruise-y. You do it again, you're gone. And it's gonna be better than the movie. That rant was better than the movie. Let's be honest.
It's so true. And he also, you're right, he nails his shit. I mean, I'm thinking now of like Leonardo DiCaprio in that Tarantino movie where he's looking in the mirror and he's like, you're gonna fucking get them, you're gonna fucking do this, and he's just amping himself up, and then he goes on set and loses his shit. Like, you're right, he really, He really is good. I mean, he's a good
He's
actor.
good. He's a talent. I mean, it also gives you a whole real aspect or real look into short men. Short men, there's no one more motivated. I mean, look at Kevin Hart, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is like 5'6" or something. Napoleon Complex.
Yeah.
Who apparently was like 5'8", which was not that short for the time, but whatever. We're on a roll.
Complex Protocol, Napoleon. That's the new one. Starring Tom Cruise. Yeah, man. It's weird. Tom Cruise had like, he fell out for a while, but it's like I never stopped liking his shit. I mean,
he's great.
I think I've liked him my whole life. It's fucking weird to just look at a celebrity and be like, I think I just like that guy. He's just like, you know, what it was like his comeback, because like Scientology made him look weird for a while. He had the whole Katie Holmes thing, but then like
the Oprah couch.
That was weird.
Yeah, but no, it's like Risky Business and Born on the 4th of July, Rain Man, like killing it in the 80s, Top Gun.
Yeah.
And then, what brought him back?
The Firm was really good.
Maybe Jerry Maguire popped him back up.
No, it was before all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire is like an example of a role that it's like, only he could have pulled that shit off. That's a bad movie without him.
Yes, it really is.
Same with Cuba Gooding. Like you get two different actors in those roles. That's a cheesy fucking movie.
Yeah, it's Cameron Crowe. It's a love story with the little kid and the what's her name? Renee Zellweger. Like
she's great.
Like, who's coming with me?
Who's coming with me? And You Complete Me in the same.
Yes. Movie. And Show Me the Money.
Can you imagine writing You Complete Me in a fucking in a little Word doc? You're like, You complete me, and he's like, that fucking nailed it.
That's so true. Yeah. Oh God. By the way, that kid was adorable. Whatever happened to him? He should have been a household name by now.
I think he's like Jack now. I think that happens. I think you either like die of like a cocaine overdose or you're just a gym rat. I think.
Right. I think he got ugly, and I think it hurt him because he was so cute with the glasses and the hair, and he didn't grow up cute.
Child stars really get fucked because when you're a child star, a lot of the time you're cute because you're like chubby and have like a round face and
exactly
a dork. And then like you hit puberty, like you always see it, even on like 2.5 Men, where that kid is like, adorable. And then you're like, we got to skip the puberty years. And then you make it through. You're like, all right, he's okay again. But there's a couple of years where you're like, gee, and look, we all went through it. We weren't on camera, you know?
Right. I mean, puberty is basically like mutation. So you're witnessing a guy like mutate into a man in front of our eyes, and the transitional period is gross. The end and the beginning is fine, but that middle, it's fucking terrifying.
Someone's gonna just clip that one part where you say the transitional period is gross, and that's
they're mutants. But no, it's true. Yeah, you gotta stay hot. Haley Joel Osment kind of went ugly.
Very round head.
Yes.
That was a very round head. He's still a great actor.
Yeah.
Dude, he had Forrest Gump and then Sixth Sense. You're like, holy shit.
What a run. What an agent.
You had a good child agent.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to do a bit about like, you know, they talk about like crisis actors, you know? Like those like conspiracy theorists will be like, those school shootings didn't happen. Those were crisis actors. It's the dumbest conspiracy theory
of course.
Ever, where you're like, they were actors, but I always want to do a bit. It never would work about how like that means maybe they're like crisis actor agents, where you're like, nah, this kid, he's good. He's really he did Sandy Hook. He did. We're gonna try to get him at like the next gay nightclub shooting. He's got the goods. You got to look at his reel, you know. Shocker, that bit never hit.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder how much is that such a well-known conspiracy? I wonder if that's the problem.
Maybe not. Maybe it's sometimes I'm like, is this shit just on Twitter or like
probably.
Some of the dumbest websites that we read?
Yeah, probably. It like I don't know anything about QAnon, but apparently people are like obsessed with that shit. So
I'll tell you my favorite thing about QAnon is that if you watch the news, they show them so little respect. Like I was just watching, like anytime you see them interviewed on the news, the interviewer will be like, all right, well, just so you know, you are on air right now. You know, like that's how they're just like basically telling them they're dumb.
Yes.
And like in a professional way, they're like, all right, and remember, your face will be on TV. Go ahead.
Yes.
It's so disrespectful and so hilarious.
Yeah.
But let me tell you my newspaper clip.
Yes.
I didn't post this one because I figured it wasn't worth it. But I could say I feel like on Twitter a lot of the time for me I don't find it worth it because people just assume the worst. And I feel like on Twitter sometimes it's like a comedy club where like you got some people that are following you for jokes, but then it gets shared to other people who don't want jokes and take everything you say seriously.
Completely.
And then I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. I want the jokes to be to the people that, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's a nightmare.
my story was this was it. Jocelyn Cano, the Instagram and OnlyFans model, confirmed dead from botched butt lift surgery.
Ooh.
And I was gonna write, what an ass.
Classic.
Not worth it.
I like it.
It's tough when the person just dies and our mind goes to joke. Cause I'm like, I'm mad at myself for like, I'm like, this is someone's life. They're dead.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like,
same. But hey, you know what I never got? You know, when everybody gets offended and all that, and people are allowed to be offended, and people are allowed to be upset, that's totally their right. But when they go, hey, you're making light of this horrible thing, you're like, do you realize how that sounds? Yes, I'm making light of something. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Like, it's you're basically complimenting me. Hey, you're making light of this horrible school shooting. I'm like, yes, I'm trying to get through it. I mean, that's all we do. And when you go,
we still take it seriously as humans, but as comedians, that's our job. I mean, it's totally true. Stanhope had a great bit about that where he just said, "You're making fun." He goes, "Yeah." And you're like, "Fuck, making fun is such a funny. That's such a great word to just
great
like,
point.
You made that bad. I feel the same way. Like I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm not like, oh, that's fucking horrible. But there is a part of my brain that is like, we are wired to just go to, how do we make this a joke?
Yeah. How do we comfort ourselves? How do we get through it? I mean, it's almost like a reaction or our defense. Your body hears this horrible, sad news, and we have to put it through the ringer and make it happy again or get some joy out of it. It's not meant for harm at all.
Yeah, we're not. That's the only thing. I always think like with dark jokes doesn't mean you're a bad person. I've always that's
here.
My defense where you're like, it just means we go to a different place to laugh. I tell a lot of people like that who get upset with jokes who I say, I bet you'd be surprised at how much like even politically and socially we agree with, but with jokes, we're going to disagree on some shit.
Yeah.
And that's completely cool. But
it's okay. Like some people are attracted to men and some people are attracted to women. Some people laugh at dark shit. Some people don't. I mean, it's just a personality type. It's the way your brain works. And it's almost like when your grandma dies and somebody goes, well, she's in a better place. That's not true, but you're making light of it. You know, that's what you do.
That's great. That's comforting you. That's not comforting me.
Exactly.
Right. We all, I mean, when you say she's in a better place, I'm like, okay, but if you know me, you know, I don't believe that.
Right.
And that's okay. Let me be sad that she's gone. But then also if someone makes a fucking funny joke about my dead grandma, that actually might cheer me up. That's the funny thing is that
exactly.
If you know me, a fucked up joke will make me laugh harder.
Yes. And you know, like when you're a kid and they go, how much does Michael Jackson's underwear cost? Half off or whatever the hell that joke was. You're making fun of kids getting raped by a pop star, but it doesn't mean you're pro kid rape.
Right.
It's just, you know, how you deal with it in a weird way.
Yeah, that'd be weird if you're like, and also I believe this. So that'd be good after a pedophilia joke. But also I do believe that'd be the new that's the new risky comedy where you're like, no, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I believe that. That's my beliefs.
Right. How about sorry.
No, what were you gonna say?
The butt model. How about model dies from implants in her rear end. We checked, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's horrible. Forget I said it. Scrap it from the record.
It is crazy that a human being's dead, and we're like, this is our job.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that sometimes with jokes, and I'm just like, with like when you can see someone's face and you can see they're kidding, and you're just like trying to have fun with it, but like sometimes in text, people are just going to assume the worst. I'm like, fuck Twitter.
Right. And I used to have a bit about this where sometimes somebody says a horrible thing to you privately, and you're like, oh, wow, I really like this. This guy really trusts me. Because if he said that out loud, or if he knew I would tell people he said that, he would get in trouble. So he really feels close to me that he can say this horrible thing.
It's a great premise. Yeah. It's funny. It's like also you're like, this guy really trusts me. And you're like, well, maybe he's just a horrible person.
Well, that too, but usually you can tell if they're actually meaning it or if they're just like, "Hey, dude, how about this fucking crazy joke?"
Totally. No, I mean that's why it's a great premise. I mean, I remember hearing you do that once and being like, oh, that's fuck. I wish I wrote that. It's such a good angle because it's like
Yeah,
it's so true. It's so true. Where
right.
you really are flattered. It's fucked
Yes.
up for them to say something terrible, and you're like, oh wow, thank you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I didn't know we were that close. This is nice. Yeah, it's a moment.
it's a moment. Are you working on any bits right now?
Yeah. I got one that's it's hitting, but I don't like the way it's hitting, so I want to retool it. But basically, I talk about how like I go on Twitter and it's just a sad off and a complaint fest, and everybody's upset and mad about something. And I realize that's why we like animals. If animals could complain, you would never have one in your home because
Wow.
they're just it would be a nightmare. Like the reason you have a cat or a dog is because they're just sitting there. I mean, you can fart in a cat's face and it just takes it, or he eats the same thing every day. He's shitting in a box. And if he could complain, it'd be a nightmare, but he can't. Like if animals had Twitter, it would be horrific. We wouldn't want them.
That's a great point. Yeah, animals, we like them because they don't feel anything but good to us. I mean,
Yes,
I think pets do get depressed, but like
sure.
we don't really notice. I mean, like a dog just greets you at the door,
Right.
tag wailing, waving back and forth, and you're like, oh shit, a fucking.
Tail wagging.
Tail wagging. God, I'm a
Yeah.
fucking idiot.
Nah.
I've had a few, but no, but a dog greets you at the door like that. Like I've never had a partner like that.
Right. Exactly.
I've never had a woman be like, "Oh my God, you're home" every time.
Yes.
You get it. You may get it occasionally,
Right.
but you're not gonna have a dog greet you. He's always happy. And here's the problem: the dog does that because you have all the power. You feed it.
Yep.
Maybe that's how we need it.
That's interesting.
Maybe that's why it's such a good relationship because you have all the power.
Yeah, I'm giving you the food. I change your litter. I give you the shots. I neuter you. I give you a house and a home and a bed. It's true. And even a horse stands up all day. We give it a carrot and a sugar cube once a year. And then you ride it, you kick him in the ribs, and we call it a nag. It's the opposite of a nag. It doesn't say anything. It takes it.
That's good. Yeah, I like the idea that like we don't give a shit about their feelings at all.
Not really, no. And look, if a dog starts whimpering, you're like, oh shit, we got to help it. But that's the most you'll get is a whimper. And what about planet Earth? We're watching hyenas attack a antelope, and if the antelope could be like, you just gotta watch this? What are you fucking nuts? Come on, help me here. It would be way less fun. Yeah, but you can't hear them.
That was our Ted Bundy, and you're just fucking watching like this is nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's also like we don't have to care about their feelings. Like you're never like digging your head into a hamster cage. Like, what's wrong, buddy? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Like, you don't have to really care, and that's so nice.
It's nice. It's a luxury that we have.
Yeah, it's fucking. I remember I had a cat that had anxiety, and like I had to get like it bulbs. Yeah, for real. It was like I had 3 roommates, and I had a cat, and he would just every time I'd go on the road, he would just start peeing on everyone's stuff, and all my roommates hated me, and I'd be like,
whoa.
I'd be like, well, what do I do? So I went to the pet store, and they're like, you need to get him an anxiety bulb, and it was like $50, and I'm like, cool, now I have anxiety. You know, it's fucking. He's putting a dent in my bank account, and then I get the bulb. It doesn't work. Like cats will get pissed at you. They do get like cats are like they're like a woman. You're like they walk away and you're like, what did I do, dude? What did I do?
Yes. And that's why a lot of people hate cats because they complain more than dogs. They hiss at you, they piss on shit. I can't believe your dog was or your cat was diagnosed with anxiety. That's so funny. Like how did they know that?
It was weirdly, I don't know, but it was such I mean, I probably just got hosed by this fucking pet store. But I mean, no, it was the fucked up thing. It was like, it was such a cool cat. The cat it was my friend Dan's cat. He bartends at the Cellar now. You know, Dan.
Oh yeah, I know Dan.
That cat ruled. He would actually greet me at the door. He was such a friendly cat, but he was too attached.
Yeah.
So he would get pissed when I'd leave. And
oh, wow.
It was a lot.
That's kind of nice. So my gal just got a cat, so we have a cat at the house.
Are you serious?
I was a
How
lot
did you
of
not tell me this? That's a big development.
That's a big step, but I was a lot of pushback. But we got a cat, and it's a Maine Coon, and it's huge, and it plays fetch.
Wow.
They call it the dog of cats. It's pretty wild. And I'm I'm trying to be like tough guy, and hey, I don't love this thing, and then she'll catch me like rubbing its nose with my nose, and I'm like, shit, this ruins my whole image.
Oh, dude, cats are fucking fun. If you get a good cat, man.
Yeah.
I do like being woken up by a cat is so much better than an alarm. Like you either
yes,
or just a head going like this in your head, like gently.
Right.
That's fucking nice,
Yeah, it's pretty gentle until I got like a drawstring hanging off my pajamas, and it's like, that's tough.
I'll tell you another thing about cats. They just start fucking vomiting everywhere. You're
just anorexic.
Like, I didn't know I fucking moved in with a Sig Ep. This is fucking brutal. Just a drunk cat everywhere. No, they're just always vomiting. The piss is a real problem. Their piss smells so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. The shit ain't a picnic either. But the good times are fun. When it rolls on its stomach and you get the gut going, you rub it. Yeah. Oh, can't beat that.
No, they're fun. I do like a cat.
Yeah, it's a little more low key than a dog. Dog's a little jumping up on the furniture and slobbering and knocking the lamp over. Cat's just kind of hanging out.
I do like them. The sharp nails too is another thing where you just have this like tiny little cat on you and you're like, oh, it's a little thing, and then they dig their nails in.
Yes,
like, is that a fucking switchblade. What the fuck is going on?
I know, it's wild. It's wild. And then what do you think about the declawing?
I don't know. They say it's inhumane, right? I don't know. I guess you just are supposed to clip them.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't know enough. You're gonna get them declawed?
No, I can't do it.
They say it's inhumane.
Yeah, I mean, their claws are really. I watch him like bat stuff around, and without the claws, he would have no grip. He would just slip off of couches and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked up.
It's weird that like even neutering, I mean, I get why you got to do it, but like, God, it's fucking brutal that we just do that to animals,
I know. It's crazy. But again, they can't complain. Imagine if you got a cat neuter and he was like, what the fuck? You cut my balls off? It'd be a nightmare. You'd have to put it down.
If they held a grudge and just swipe into your fucking sack in the middle of the night, not so fucking fun, is it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't complain. It's why we like it. And it's, I think we got something there. What do you got?
All right. Did I tell you the Sesame Street idea I had?
No, maybe. A Big Bird with the teaching kids not to be racist.
Oh, I might have told you that. All right. Let me see what
That's funny.
Something. Okay. I got, this is an angle I had. Like, you ever just pop an Adderall and you just like, really listen to your girlfriend? You know what I mean? Like really listen. It's kind of like Viagra, but for a relationship where, like I even talk about it like it's sex. I'm like, damn, that was 45 minutes. That was good.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I'll say like listening's a lot like sex. You don't try to do too much. You let them go. And then every once in a while you throw in a yeah.
Right. You got to let them know you're still there.
Yeah.
That's funny. That Viagra, Adderall is the Viagra of conversation. I think that's good. It keeps you up.
Yeah, that was like, it's something about
I'm listening so hard, baby.
Yeah, I'm listening is like, it's funny. It's also too like women think that they want they think they want the hardest dick, but they just really want the best listening.
That's dead on. That's great. It's like female Viagra.
Yeah, listening is what it's weird where you're like, oh fuck, I bet they want a dick pic, and they're like, no, they just want an via text. That's all they want.
Right. That's great. David Tell had that great line. He's like, I think women like vibrators because they sound like they're listening.
Ah, the king.
Yeah,
the
king. But that's different. That's different.
No, he's the best fucking comic.
That's interesting. It's true. They want, and they don't want you to fix the problem either. They always say that. Just listen. Let me vent. Stop trying to fix it.
Well, that's our nature, right? That's like women want guys to listen. It's almost like when women are like, I'm cold, and you give them a jacket. They're like, no, I just wanted to tell you I'm cold. And you're like,
right.
Cool. I'm so what an asshole I am for
I
trying to
know.
fix the problem.
Exactly. And I kind of want you to stop complaining about it. So I got you the jacket. It's like a win-win.
We're drowning. Okay, let's try to swim to the top. No, I just
Yes.
wanted you to listen to how we're drowning.
That's the bit. That's funny.
Yeah.
Like when they actually need help and you're like, I'm just listening. And they're like, well, I'm dead now.
I think there's a guy in the apartment. You grab a baseball bat. No, put it down. I wanted to talk about how there's a guy in the apartment.
Exactly. You never listen. That's funny.
Yeah, the listening is a fucking. I didn't realize like what and it's tough. I really have horrible. It's hard for me to listen. I'm a bad listener.
Tough. But also, how about you meet me halfway? Okay, you want me to listen, so why don't you up the interesting factor? Huh? Meet me halfway here. If I'm gonna do my part and listen, why don't you add some punchlines?
Yeah, I used to have an old bit where a woman said to me, "You suffer from attention deficit disorder," and I was like, "If you see me suffering, then why are your stories so long?" That was an
there you go.
Old one-liner.
That's a good line. Also, I think you had a bit about this too. Like, we have phones now, so like you got to beat the phone. So you better step it up, or you're gonna be obsolete conversation-wise.
Yeah, I had a bit about how like stories. I wish it worked like YouTube where you could tap the face and see how much time was left. And then of course that got turned into a fucking fat Jew or whoever
IG
really? Meme. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they always take our bits. Yeah.
That fat cunt. I hate that guy.
Yeah.
He was in Uncut Gems.
I know. I think we already complained about this, and people were making fun of us because we've done like 10 different podcasts. I think some people were saying that the podcast should just be us doing a different podcast every podcast.
Episode 1 again. Yeah,
I like
that's
one
funny.
more drink though. I like us drinking together because this feels like we're actually hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
This is like old school, you know.
Yeah, I've already put down this SoCo and tea.
Oh,
What's Diet Coke?
Oh no, I got. Well, I'm doing my scotch, but I'm doing a little watermelon Lacroix back here.
That's a good back.
It's a nice back.
Yeah, I would just pour that right in the scotch, maybe.
No, this is good scotch. I'm not gonna mix it.
That's true. That's true. Is that a no-no? Sometimes I'll put a little water in some scotch and I can.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not do what tastes good to you, but I don't want to like put it. I think water, it's like ice. You just want to like you're just diluting it a bit. But like I think with like really good scotch, I don't want to do that. But like if I'm drinking something that's like kind of shitty, I'm like, I don't care. Not even shitty, but like, you know, sometimes I look forward to when the ice melts just a little.
Yeah, same. It cuts it a little. I'm not Ernest Hemingway here.
Well, Hemingway would drink some soft shit too. I know he was like a badass, but he
really,
he would drink like Havana Libres, and those are like rum and cokes. I think. I
mean, he did. He liked a cocktail.
So I mean, that's like sugary. That's sweet.
Yeah, I don't care for neat. Look, I get it, neat, but it just feels like you're putting alcohol in a cup. It doesn't feel like enough for me.
It depends on the occasion, it's snowing out, it's snow out. So I'll mix it up. I've reached the point of the quarantine where like, dude, last night I made a fucking margarita. I threw some grapefruit and pomegranate in my blender. Bam. Threw some tequila and lime in there. I was like, you know what? I put a salt rim around it. Every once in a while, I want to be a little fucking fancy boy, but
yeah, that's nice.
But I usually drink scotch or like tequila or maybe a glass of wine, but I just think like, I think neat in the winter is kind of nice, honestly.
Well, neat also works too, and it's like, Sam's getting married, and we all just pour a couple of neat drinks and take it down. When it's like a celebration. Speaking of that, let me ask you this: it's Christmas time, it's holidays, it's snowing. Where do you stand on the bourbon and eggnog?
I'm fine. Well, you don't like it?
I love it. I'm a huge fan of eggnog.
I can't not. Speaking of Dave Attell, I can't think of eggnog and not think of what was he called? Elf cum.
Elf cum. I think about that every single time I pour an eggnog.
I haven't had it in a while, but I like throwing some. You throw some nutmeg and cinnamon on there,
and
some bourbon and eggnog. Yeah, it's really nice. I love that.
Love that. I mean, you drink a cup of eggnog, you want to kill yourself because it's just so thick and dairy and sugary. But boy, you put that bourbon in there and it just cuts it. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's nice. And I'll have a fucking White Russian too. I don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
It's been a while, but like, I usually just stick with like the brown stuff now. But like, this shit will give me a hangover. I love a White Russian here and there, and I'll tell you, even talking about it makes me want to watch Lebowski right now.
He calls it a Caucasian.
I love it.
Yeah. I love a White Rush, but you can't go too deep in with the creamy liquors. I feel like the liqueurs. It's just too much dairy after a while. You're just yakking or shitting foam.
Yeah, you just feel fucking. I mean, like, what are you gonna get loaded off of fucking milk? It's
exactly
insane. Like, you're just gonna be You're just gonna be like out to here. You're gonna blow up.
Yeah, it's bad news, but I mean, those eggnogs are so good. I end up drinking like half a carton.
Are you making them at home?
I do. I just buy like the carton, just the tall one. Where you crease it back and pour it in like that, and I love it. I just go out of the carton at night.
Yeah, it's fucking good. Yeah, it's a problem. I might have to get up. Maybe we should do next week. Maybe we should get on a fucking little
eggnog
nutmeg kick.
Oh yeah, hell, I'm down.
Maybe that should be our next step.
Yeah. Do we cover? Oh, pet peeve. What's your pet peeve for the week?
What do I have? I wrote down something. What do I have? I wrote down a note just to make sure. Oh fuck. All right. Fucking. I mean, this is an obvious one, but like, just health insurance in this country, man. Like, it makes me
pet peeve.
Yeah, because I spent like fucking 6 hours on the phone figuring out health insurance. Apparently, New York State has some sort of thing where you can't get a PPO, which is like nationwide. It's like, we travel. I want to get fucking, I'm in LA a lot. I want to get coverage out. I want to be able to get a checkup out there. I want to be able to get like, stuff out there. So yeah, it's health insurance. They're such pieces of shit. None of them know how to do that. Literally every person I talk to is like, oh, you have to talk to this other person. I'm like, all right, fuck you. And then you talk to the airlines right now. I want the health insurance industry to suffer to the point where they're like airlines now, where like you call Delta and they're like, no change fee. We're happy to move it.
Yes.
And you're like, good. You fucking had it too good for too long, airlines. I'm glad you're fucking airlines right now feel like they feel like a hot high school kid who grew up and got busted. And you're like, wow, they got really nice. And you're like, no, they're broken. That's fucking why. I want health insurance to be like the airlines right now. And by that, I mean, not bailed out fully and and broken, where they have to fucking give us some love now. It's been too long.
It's like cabs. Cabs always, I know you're a cab fan.
I'm a cab guy.
I like cabs too because they're right there and it's romantic. The guy's talking to, Dubai on a Bluetooth or whatever it is. But like, I mean, you get a cab in New Orleans or somewhere outside of New York, and it's like you got a call. They're 45 minutes late. They smell like cigarettes. The seats reclined. They have hell and back. And you're like, what the fuck? But they're the only game in town. Then Uber came in and they were like, shit, we got to clean up our act.
Yeah, they had a meeting. No more hand grenades while you're driving.
Yeah, exactly. Like blaring the fucking music and the cigarette smoke and the dirty cab and all the whole thing. And
I kind of miss it. The disrespect felt real. I mean,
it was real.
I do miss it, but you're right. I mean, my pet peeve of the week. I was so angry. I spent like, I did like 4 fucking podcasts the other day, and the rest of the day I had to just be on the phone with tech support all fucking day, and they just suck. They just suck, man.
Tech support's a nightmare. Then they keep transferring you to another place, and you're like, just give me the lady, give me the push 0, give me the correspondent, whatever you call it, the operator.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your pet peeve?
Well, this one's a little, and look, we've all been guilty of it, but it happened to me today, and it's a real pet peeve because it's a kind of a sign of like, I don't give a shit about you or inconsideration. I go, I have to be gone by this time. And your friend or whoever goes, of course, we got you. Out the door, we'll say 3:21, out the door. You got it, no problem. Now it's 3:20. I go, well, it's about that time. And they go, come on, one more minute, hang out another 5. Where you going? And you're like, I'm walking away. And they go, what are you, crazy? You leaving? I'm like, I told you it's 16 times, 3:21. And they give you shit for leaving at 3:20.
Were you guys drinking? Is that what it was?
No, he's sober now. I don't want to shit on, I don't want to say who it is, but like, he always does that to me, and it's a huge pet peeve.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough, the person who like, you make the verbal agreement's intact, right? We have the verbal agreement. And then you say, it's time for me to leave.
Yes.
This is the time we agreed upon. And they're like, come on, you got me out with this agreement.
Right. And it's basically saying like, bittersweet because they're like, look, we're having so much fun. I don't want you to leave, but also I don't really give a shit about your thing. I'd rather hang out than care about your problem. That's you deal with that. I'm still hanging out. So it's kind of inconsiderate in a way.
Totally. It's us giving what we have and it not being enough.
Yes, exactly.
It's feeling like nothing's enough for that person too. That shit's tough where you're just like I like the friends who are just like totally like, well, I'm glad you were able to come out. It's like they're not recognizing that you did something even though it was a lot for you to come out. It's also a pandemic. It's also a fucking pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah. And that just drives me crazy because it also makes you realize like, oh, when I said 321 an hour ago and you were going, oh, of course, you were just lying to me. You were just like, oh yeah, whatever, it'll shut you up. Let's just keep hanging out. But I get it. It's bittersweet because I want to see the guy.
You're like a woman. You're like, all right, one kiss. And then they're like, all right. And they kiss you. And then they're like start touching your chest. You're like, I said a fucking kiss, you piece of shit.
Exactly. But let's be honest. A lot of those ladies want to go further. But I
didn't. That's the part. That's the other part that's going to get cut from this.
But no, I mean, you know, all that like, oh, no. Like there's a little flirtiness there. But like with this, I'm like 321. That's it.
Meanwhile, he's on the phone with his friends. He said 321. But we don't know what he meant. We all know what he was fucking. He don't know he was asking for 325. We all know that's what he was doing.
Exactly. Yeah, no means no. 321 means 430. Yeah, but we worked it out and we're fine and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's a pet peeve.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's so much to even go out these days. And like, I think like I don't have the emotional, like I'm not able to kind of socialize at the level I was a year ago because I'm so used to being alone now. So now when I'm out, I'm very excited and I'm very happy to be around people, but I also, I don't have the endurance.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we used to be like pumas and jaguars and now we're house cats completely. We've just gotten it, you know, shaped, or what do you call it? Manipulate. What's the word? We've been accustomed to just homebody, hang out, computer, phone, TV, and we used to be running all over the city.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. And I think I was trying to do a bit about people. You ever like I was trying to do a bit about like real friendship, like what real friendship means to me. And I want to do a bit about how like you ever just I was FaceTiming a friend and we were just chatting and then we both got disconnected and neither of us called the other one back.
Oh,
I was like, to me, that's real friendship because we both didn't need to like make sure everything was okay. We both just knew it was okay. We're like, the conversation was over. Like I wrote a whole list of, to me, like I have another thing about, like I have a friend who will make plans and I'll be like, hey, movie Wednesday. And then Wednesday comes around and you're both kind of like, oh, I hope he doesn't contact me. And then neither of us contact the other person. Like that's a friend.
Yes.
We didn't need to check in. We both knew that we got out of the mood. It's still good. We're still okay. I don't know. That to me was like, it felt real.
That's a bit. I think there's something there.
There's something there. I'll
funny.
I'll noodle with that.
My only argument is though, if you're in the middle of something deep and heavy and then it gets cut off.
It wasn't. It was just kind of like we've been on the phone for a while. And no, I totally agree. If it's something deep and heavy, it's the opposite for sure.
Right. Yeah. Then you're like, did they hang up on me? Shit.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you on that. If they don't call back, they don't need to. They know you're still cool. That's a friend.
Yeah, for sure. Good shit, man. Well, you're at Zany's tonight.
Yep. Seeing the whole crew. Zany's starting. It feels like Nashville. I mean, Austin, where it's like things are popping here. You know, the club's full. Everybody's coming out. Theo moved here, and Josh Wolf moved here. Jeff Dye is here. It's like, it feels like things are cooking. It really feels like other cities are really popping comedy-wise.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's all it takes. Is like, I guess now with the internet and everything, social media, you don't all need to be in New York and LA. So
yeah,
it's probably good to spread it out a little, honestly.
I agree. That way, you know, before we'd be like, I'm going to Cleveland, whatever. And now it's like, oh, I'm going to Cleveland. I get to see this guy. I get to do this club. I can do this podcast. So it's kind of nice to spread it out. You're right.
That's cool, man. Good. I mean, it's great. I'm in I'm doing Soul Joel's Heated Dome tent in Royersford, PA on Wednesday. So
I'm there on Tuesday.
Are you there Tuesday night?
Well, I was supposed to be there on whatever the blizzard was, and we had to turn back.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been there already once. I hope people come out again, but we'll see,
Yeah, I think it's a heated dome. I think people are with their families. They need something to do. They don't want to sit and talk to their aunt for 3 days. So I think people will come out.
That's my pitch. Don't talk to your aunt.
Yeah.
Come see some jokes. Yeah, hopefully it should be pretty cool. And good show.
All right.
I hope people are liking this. I hope they keep listening. I think we got a hot theme. Let us know what you can do with that theme, and we'll keep banging these out. This is fun to do.
Totally. Yeah. Keep commenting, like it, share it, tell a friend, share the link. And I'm loving the comments. I mean, the nice ones, but yeah, just like your pet peeve or where do you think you can go with that bit? I got a bunch of responses about bit ideas. Like you should talk about this. And I'm like, oh yeah.
I love it.
So,
I love people, getting involved, because I feel like our listeners or our commenters, they're just like, they're cool. We have cool.
They're cool.
I saw funny. Someone comment. I don't read all of them, but I saw someone comment about a Robert Mitchum movie, Night of the Hunter, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that. I'll check it out. I love that we're getting like movie Rex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got good, cultured, interesting fans for the most part.
I love it. Well, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week, guys.
Happy holidays.